Israel begins first phase of Gaza offensive, forcing Palestinians to flee Jerusalem, August 21, 2025. The Israeli military has launched the initial phase of a large-scale offensive in the Gaza Strip, prompting thousands of Palestinians to flee their homes amid escalating violence. The operation, described by Israeli officials as a response to ongoing security threats, has intensified tensions in the region, raising fears of a broader humanitarian crisis. In background and objectives, the offensive follows weeks of heightened hostilities, including rocket attacks from Gaza into southern Israel and retaliatory airstrikes. The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, stated that the operation aims to dismantle militant infrastructure and prevent further attacks on Israeli territory. Military spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Avraham Levy emphasized that the operation targets specific threats while seeking to minimize civilian casualties. "The safety of Israeli citizens is our top priority," Levy said in a press briefing. "We are acting with precision to neutralize terrorist capabilities in Gaza." Palestinian officials and residents, however, report widespread fear and displacement as airstrikes and ground operations intensify. The Gaza Health Ministry reported at least 47 deaths and over 200 injuries in the first 48 hours of the offensive, though these figures could not be independently verified. Mass displacement in Gaza and the offensive has forced thousands of Palestinians to abandon their homes, with many seeking refuge in overcrowded schools and temporary shelters. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, estimated that over 30,000 people have been displaced since the operation began, with numbers expected to rise as the offensive continues. "Entire neighborhoods have been reduced to rubble," said Amina Al-Hassan, a resident of northern Gaza. "We had no choice but to flee with nothing but the clothes on our backs." Humanitarian organizations have warned of a looming crisis, citing shortages of food, water, and medical supplies in Gaza. The region's already strained infrastructure, including hospitals and power plants, has been further damaged by the ongoing bombardment. An international response, international community, has expressed alarm over the escalation. The United Nations called for an immediate ceasefire, urging both sides to prioritize civilian safety and humanitarian access. U.S. Secretary of State Emily Carter reiterated support for Israel's right to defend itself, but stressed the need for restraint to avoid further civilian suffering. "We are deeply concerned about the humanitarian impact of this offensive," Carter said in a statement. "We urge all parties to de-escalate and work toward a sustainable resolution." Egypt and Qatar have offered to mediate ceasefire talks, though previous attempts at negotiations have collapsed amid mutual distrust. Protests have erupted in several countries, including Jordan, Turkey, and the United Kingdom, condemning the offensive and calling for international intervention. Humanitarian concerns NAID agencies are struggling to respond to the growing needs in Gaza. The World Health Organization reported that several hospitals in the region are operating at reduced capacity due to damage and shortages of essential supplies. UNRWA has appealed for $150 million in emergency funding to support displaced families. "The situation is dire," said UNRWA spokesperson Laila Khalid. "Without immediate access to aid, we risk a catastrophic humanitarian collapse." The offensive has also drawn attention to the blockade of Gaza, which has restricted the flow of goods and people for nearly 2 decades. Critics argue that the blockade exacerbates the humanitarian crisis, while Israel maintains it is necessary to prevent weapons smuggling. What's next? Israeli officials have indicated that the offensive is likely to expand in the coming days, with additional troop deployments and airstrikes planned. The IDF has called on Gaza residents to evacuate certain areas, though many have nowhere safe to go. Palestinian militant groups, including Hamas and Islamic Jihad, have vowed to resist the offensive, launching rockets into southern Israel and engaging in skirmishes with Israeli forces.